Hello, my name is Jackie and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am an aspiring fiction writer who is doing Camp Nanowrimo and failing at Camp Nanowrimo. So I'm working on my revision of my Nano 2019 project Powerless, and my goal for the month was to get through 50,000 words. I took yesterday off just because I also started a new job at the beginning of July and I'm feeling extremely worn out. And my current word count is 9,999 words, and as of the end of yesterday it should have been 24,195 words, so that's almost 15,000 words behind. And after this intro, I am not going to look at my word count again until the end of the week because I don't think it's good for my mental health. And what's interesting is, even though maybe it was early as a week ago I realized that my word count wasn't on target, I told myself, you know, my focus is making this the best book it can be, and if that means it takes longer than I'd planned, that's fine. But the problem is, because I've got this on the website and because I'm updating the website and because I'm telling you about my word count, it's making me anxious because I feel like I need to catch up, when the truth is I don't need to catch up. As long as I stick at it, it doesn't really matter if it takes me 1 month or 2 months or however long to get through the book. So I feel like I should at least give an update at the beginning of the week so you can see where I'm tracking in terms of what my original goals were, but I'm not going to be checking every day because I don't think it's productive. So as I mentioned, I took yesterday off. I have been exhausted since I started this new job. I began on the 1st of July and I'm actually working remotely because the company's in Switzerland and I'm in Estonia. And it's also a startup, so things aren't as structured. The role I applied for was a senior content manager role. It looks like they've turned it into a head of marketing role, so I'm also like leading a team but not, and it's just been tiring, even though like I haven't actually had that much work to do yet, but I think just because I've been stressing about it, it's been tiring. So I thought that yesterday it was better for me to just take the day off rather than push myself to do more stuff. Having said that, one of the things that was stopping me last week was just getting through this new scene I had planned to add to the book, which really wasn't working and I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I've decided to just skip that, at least until the weekend, and move forward with the next part of the book. And I think like the next part of the book works quite well, so I'm hoping I can move through that fairly quickly. At the moment though, it is the middle of the day. I'm starting a meeting in 10 minutes, so I should go and get back to work. So after all of my complaining about how this project is not going as well as I'd hoped, in that session, which was an hour, maybe an hour and 5 minutes, I did almost 4,000 words. And I was not writing those 4,000 words, obviously, and the reason I got through them was because I got to a part in the book that's better, that I quite like. But it's just, amazing that I've spent basically 2 weeks getting the first 10,000 words done, and I got, over a third of that done in an hour. So it's just funny how revisions work. One of the things I'm realizing though is that I will need to go through this multiple times, and if you've done revisions before, that's probably, you're going to be thinking like, of course Jackie, that's how it works. You don't do one revision and then you're done. But there are things I'm noticing, but I know I'm not capable of doing them all in this pass. Some of the things I really want to look at, it's mostly Maria and Hannah's relationship and Artem and Hannah's relationship, but another thing is I really need to build up the brotherhood a lot more so that when Hannah encounters them out in the wild, it's like, oh my god, what's going to happen? This is bad. And there isn't that build up now. Then there's still the science aspect and seeing if this new theory that Chris and I came up with works, but that's something where I'm not changing the plot too much, it's just changing the scenes where it's mentioned. And then I also need to figure out how to create more of a sense of place, because a lot of this book moves so quickly and I can see the world where it's set because I'm basing it on the city where I'm living and I can imagine the streets where it's happening, but I don't actually describe it in the book, and I'm not sure how to add that description in without slowing down the pace because it is an action book, it's fast paced. So I'm thinking that when I go back to the first 10,000 words or so again, I'm going to include more there And then when we get to the more action style scenes, hopefully the readers will already have a picture in their head of where they are, so I won't need to take time out of the action to describe it. But all in all, very happy with today's progress. Maybe I will hit my 50,000 words. I have been a very bad vlogger this weekend, in that I've done a whole lot, I've revised a whole lot, and I haven't recorded any of it. But I hope you enjoyed the scenery outside. I actually just caught up with a friend of mine who I haven't seen since before coronavirus happened, so that was really good. It's 25 degrees today, I think, so we're having a really good summer this year, which is amazing, and I'm so grateful for because it's my last summer in Tallinn. And I also revised both before I left and after I got back. So this weekend's been really good. Ever since I put that scene that was really troubling me aside, I've made pretty good progress. So if I look at my NaNoWrimo stats, so the first day I went back to revising after putting that scene to the side, I did 3,911 words. Then yesterday, I did 4,539. And today I've done 3,986. So these daily averages are much better than what they have been so far. And in fact, I was expecting more of the revision process to be like this. So on one hand, it's good because I'm catching up. I'm clearly confident enough to start looking at my word count again. But two, it's also good because it shows that I was right about this part of the book in that it's stronger. At least, I hope that I was right. I hope that when I send it to an editor, they agree, because this could just be me deluding myself. Who knows? But I have passed the first 50 pages, so I have passed the section that is going to go to the editor, so it's going to be interesting to see what she says. When it comes to the overall tracking, today I should be on 30,647 words, and I am on 23,052 words. So what's that? 6,000 words or so behind. So I am actually closing the gap. From here, I've decided the approach I'm going to take is if I come across something that needs to be unraveled in order to fix it, I'm just going to move on. So I'm going to highlight it in yellow so I know to come back to it, and I'll just move on with the rest of the book during the week, simply because with the new job and the fact that I'm already having some anxiety around that, I don't think getting stuck and making no progress in the book is helping me. So I'll put a pin in those difficult sections and just move through the parts of the book that are fairly straightforward or where changes to them will be fairly straightforward. And then I can go back to those difficult sections on the weekend when I have a bit more time and mental space. The other thing I'm experimenting with is trying a soft dopamine detox over the weekend. So if you didn't see my dopamine detox video, I'll do a link to it. But the basic idea is that our brains are hardwired for instant gratification in terms of entertainment, and this is encouraged by the internet and social media and so on. And Andrew Kirby, who came up with this concept, has a beginner, intermediate, and advanced plan for how to do a 24-hour dopamine detox, where you basically stop doing things that trigger that instant gratification response. So things like Netflix, YouTube, social media, TV, and so on. Now, when I did it last time, I actually strictly did the intermediate level, which included no reading and no talking. What I'm doing now is I'm using my computer, but only for working on my book, or maybe only for editing videos, but I'm using my computer for productive things. I'm not using it for entertainment. And the reason for that is it's forcing my brain to put in work to get a reward rather than just passively being rewarded for doing nothing. I'm basically cutting out all other forms of entertainment, but I will allow reading in French because that's the case of entertainment where my brain does need to work hard for it rather than getting the passive gratification. And I did it this weekend. It is 6:30 now, and I am going to stop working, so I'm going to relax for the rest of the evening, and I will be watching YouTube. But I felt like the intermediate version I did last time was a little bit extreme. I was really exhausted at the end of it. In fact, I did it on a Sunday and then had work on the Monday, and I felt like I needed a day off to recover from my detox. Whereas now, I am feeling a little bit worn out today, but that's just because I was out in the sun walking around for a couple of hours. Mentally though, I'm not feeling completely tapped out. I feel like I've made really good progress this weekend and I think I deserve a treat now. So I will see you tomorrow. Hello and happy Monday. I'm in the lounge in the co-working space we use at my new job. And I haven't written yet today, but I'm playing with a couple of different morning routines to see if one of them will help with the fatigue and anxiety a bit. And this morning, I decided to see how I went without writing. The problem is I woke up at 5:30 and don't really leave home until 8:30. So 3 hours is a lot of time to fill if you're not writing anything. So I think tomorrow I'll try writing in the morning and see if I feel any better. Having said that, I'm very confident I will get back to my book when I get home because I'm still in the easy section. I'm fairly sure the next chapter's a decent one as well. So fingers crossed. Aside from that, my boss is on holidays for the next 2 weeks and I'm supposed to be filling in for him in terms of marketing, but there's other stuff he does that isn't marketing. Like we have 2 meetings a week, which are sort of the growth department. And I don't know if I'm meant to run those meetings or not because I don't have his context. So it should be interesting. We'll see how it goes. So you know how yesterday I was saying this is the best summer we've had and it's awesome and I'm so happy. It is pouring outside. I don't know if you can hear it. In fact, I don't know if you, can you see the difference in color there? It's dark because I'm wet, I'm soaked. Like this gray here, this is the dry color that was under my arm and where my backpack was. This is drenched. In fact, let's do the green top as well. Ah, sticking. Ah. Yeah, can you see that difference? This is how wet I am. And in fact, this hat is soaked as well. My hair's okay. Anyway, summer's over. So according to the weather, it's going to be raining for the next week, I think, which is excellent writing weather. So I'm going to get to my revisions after I dry off. I am now dry, comfortably in pajamas, and I've ticked over the 26,000 word mark, which is good. I feel a little bit like I've been cheating though, because the last scene was another one I really like. It was the evil mafia doctor torture scene. But I think now things are going to get a little bit more difficult because I've just gotten through probably my favourite portion in the book, which is from when Hannah gets kicked out of home until now, where she gets kicked out of home, her siblings pursue her, so there's this chase scene, and she runs into the mafia and they take her to the boss, and then she goes to the doctor and she gets tortured, and then the boss's granddaughter comes in and Hannah saves her life, and suddenly she's on the good side, and it's all of this just, it's like dominoes, this series of scenes where one just knocks into the other, and I changed a little bit after the fight scene. Basically, every time things slow down, I tweak things, but the fast-paced areas I really like. So the last significant change I made was after Hannah had escaped her siblings and later Maria meets up with her in this secret place where they were always going to meet, and I added a flashback there about that, and I changed the interaction between them. In fact, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in the video, but in my first draft, Hannah's motivation for the first half of the book was, I've got to get home, I want to be accepted by my father, and I want to get powers in order to do that. Whereas now, I've twisted things so she needs to get back so she can save Maria because she's basically screwed Maria over. So, unintentionally, but she has. And I feel like that makes much more sense for these characters, and I think it works really well with the flashbacks. And yeah, I still do have a little bit of the first 10,000 words to fix, But for the last 15, I'm really, really happy. The next little section of the book's a bit difficult because I've been in this response part of the book. If you're familiar with story engineering, you know what I'm talking about, where everything's been reacting. So she was kicked out of home and then everything's a reaction to that. And now we're at this bit where things slow down a bit, and I think they need to, because like even I feel a little bit breathless taking you through all of the things that just happened. So we slow down a bit. She's basically been adopted by the granddaughter of the mafia boss, and she like wakes up in their house and goes down to have breakfast with the family. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having this shift, and she sort of hangs out with them on a mission and they go out partying in a club and she learns more about the mafia. I don't know, I was going to say I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think you do need to slow down a bit, you do need to have these moments of respite, but they should be relevant to the plot. And there are a couple, like when they go to the club, things do get more relevant to the plot. They discover that the mafia has a drug, which relates to the mission that went wrong earlier in the book. But there are sort of two scenes before that. There's the settling into life with the mafia and the mission where they take revenge on the person who almost killed the granddaughter. And those are actually a little bit outside the main plot, and I need to think about whether that's a problem or not, or whether I can work them into the main plot. So I want to keep the club scene and the next scene, because there's sort of this, in fact, as I think about it, I realize it's just like the next two little scenes, so probably the next 3,000 to 4,000 words that's difficult, because when you get to the club, it's a weak scene, it needs reworking, but its purpose is clear. There's a reason for it being there. She discovers the drug that tempts Hannah to betray the mafia, who are her new friends, and they don't take kindly to that. So there's this sort of push and pull of trust between Lisa, the granddaughter, and Hannah, and whose side Hannah's really on. And I think that's important for when we get to the midpoint, when she decides to betray her father, which I now need to think about in the context of it's going to make things more difficult for Maria as well. This is so much fun. So I think that section works, and in order for them to justify going out clubbing, they need to have some sort of success. That's why we have this mission. But I don't know what to do with these two scenes. Anyway, I think I'm done for the day, so I think I'm going to take a look at them tomorrow, see how I go, and if I can't think of any way to improve them, then I will highlight them and look at them on the weekend when I have that mental space and time space. Mental space and time. You can tell it's the end of the day.
Hello, it's a bit windy, so I have no idea how well the mic's going to pick me up, but I am heading to a singing lesson, which is very exciting because my teacher usually goes away for the summer, and she's happened to come back for this week, so she's called everyone going, do you want to come for a lesson? I was like, absolutely yes. So this should be fun, and it's always nice to do something that's all-consuming, but it's away from the computer. When it comes to the book, I haven't looked at it today, but I think I might add another flashback into the area where I am now, just because it is a bit of an awkward transition, and I think if I can do something with Maria, then it will just, I don't know, it'll tie it in. I think the flashbacks are working really well, so I might as well try it. Plus it's been a good, I think 6 chapters since we last had one, so it's time. When it comes to work, I am once again more confused than ever about what my job actually is, because as a content marketing person, most of the stuff I do is already getting done. As a head of marketing, some of the things I thought I'd be working on are already getting done by the team, which is awesome because the team is awesome. But it's not so awesome because I don't know what my job is. But it is, week 3? So I think I've still got time. Also, I'm going to be going to Switzerland for the first week of August, so I think that'll help make things more concrete, and it'll be good to see people in person as well. But for now, singing.
I just got back from my singing lesson. It was awesome, but we decided to try and do Let It Go, which is way beyond my level, in case you're wondering. I'm still less than a year into my lessons. I think I'm almost at a year. So, highly challenging song, and it was fun, but I'm so worn out. If you're wondering why my singing teacher is giving these songs to someone who's essentially a beginner, basically we started with the musicals, and then we tried some jazz, and then I decided, why don't I start looking for songs I want to sing? And we got on to Disney. So today was Let It Go. And it really takes it out of you, like beyond my throat feeling a bit sore. I feel winded in the best possible way. But because I feel winded, I've decided I'm actually going to take today off. So what does that bring my word count to? One moment. So that brings me to 26,027 words. So still behind where I should be. I'm guessing it's around the 10,000 word mark behind again, but I'm okay with that. So in the comments, please let me know not only how your camp is going, but also if you've had any moments of enlightenment or lessons learned about you as a writer and how you write best. Because I'd love to hear if this process has been as interesting for you as it has been for me. Other than that, as per usual, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and do everything that will keep the gods of YouTube happy. And I will see you next week. Bye.